welcome back. Happy Monday, happy marvelous Monday. Welcome back, my rich aunties. Today we have a jam-packed episode. I have an amazing guest that's going to come on later, but we are here to change your financial life and to transform your mind, your money, and your wealth. So let's get into it. I'm your girl, Saran. I am your host on this incredible journey. And I am here to welcome you to another empowering episode of Going from Chaos to Calm with Your Finances, where we learn the secrets to unblock your path to wealth. We dig deep into the spiritual, mental, and the reality of our finances so that we can get to a place of well-being. I'm going to show you how to navigate all these twists and turns in the financial journey, and I'm going to help you transform your finances from chaos to calm. Chaos standing for can't handle any obstacle sent. If you can relate to having had that issue with your finances before, just let us know in the chat. But we help you go to a place of calm, control, abundance, legacy creation, and money mastery. And for those of you who haven't been with us, again, I'm your guide, Saran Baker. And I'm going to help you cultivate this mindset. We're going to help you to revolutionize your finances and your relationship with yourself and your money. Because how many of you know what you do with your money is truly a relationship, and how you treat your money is probably how you treat yourself. So, but it's not just about me sitting here talking. I want to hear from you. Let me know in the chat if you are here with us today, live, listening, participating. Don't be shy. Click like, click share. Invite your friends to become a part of this conversation, and be sure to join my community on Facebook, Sister Sense, where we talk. We're women like you. We talk about money, and wealth creators. We go there and we get this thing done with our finances. And one of the things, for those of you who don't know, I'm a huge Game of Thrones fan, and right now House of the Dragon is out. And one of the most famous quotes from Game of Thrones, one of the seasons, when the key character he said, chaos is a ladder. But that analogy in of itself is chaos is the ladder, is like you can climb up out of chaos. You don't have to stay in it. And so you can always get out if you're in. So again, don't be shy. Let's get into it. Y'all know me. I like to bring a little positive affirmation to every time you see me. I'm going to have some positive words for you to speak to yourself, because like we talked about last week, we have to constantly be reprogramming ourselves on purpose. And we want to program ourselves with positive words in the present tense on a regular basis. So this week's affirmation is, every day in every way I prosper. Very definitive. You want to say that to yourself 50 times. You want to write it if you're a writer. You want to get that affirmation into your brain so that when things come up, when challenges happen, the first thing you think isn't the negative thought. You think, but I prosper in every way, every day. That's what's going to come to your mind, and that's how we train ourselves. So before we get started, I want to tell you a little story before I introduce our guest. And I want to get you in the mindset of really understanding like where we're going. I want to talk to you about just a common problem that we all have. We probably never even thought about it this way, but think about this. If you own a house, you rent an apartment, wherever you live, you ever had ants, right? They're annoying, but they're doing their job. But you ever think about ants as the ants are just the symptom? They are not really the cause of the problem. If ants are in your home, they're a symptom of something else happening. And really to eliminate them, to really eliminate what's attracting them into your home, you got to find out what the root cause is. What is it that they're coming to get? So you got to check your house for excess moisture. You got to check to see if there's mildew. You got to see if there maybe is some mold or black mold growing anywhere, because that's what's causing the ants to want to come inside, because they're attracted to that. And so instead of first calling the exterminator and go get a mold inspection, go figure it out, go look down in the crevices, go see if you have pets, go see where your pets are hanging out. Maybe they hid something. You got to find what it is, and maybe clean out some old food if you got old food around or things like that, because those things are attracting the ants. You think about, they're giving off gas and decaying matter. That's what ants want. Their job is to take care of it. But we got to focus on, in that way, we focus on eliminating the root cause. And after that, if you eliminate that root cause, you won't have a need for an exterminator, and the ants will be gone simultaneously because you eliminated the root cause. But now let's shift our focus a little bit. Let's change the lens. Let's look at that ants. The ants aren't necessarily the symptom, but let's look at that when it comes to your finances. When we have hidden financial problems, you might see ants, or you might feel like you're in debt. You might feel like you don't have enough money. You might feel like maybe you need a new job because you want to make money. But that really is a symptom, because it's really not going to what the root cause of why you're having trouble with your finances. It's not you have to go and identify, are you overspending? Are you poorly budgeting? Are you not planning for your finances? Are you allowing your money to go out the door to other people because they ask for it all the time, right? I'm just saying, it just happens. We all got, Ray them, Papa them, everybody call us to something, and then we give it away, and then we don't have it, right? What is the root cause of why you don't have money? Because we oftentimes people think, oh, I'll just get more money and that'll solve the problem. And really it won't, because your problem was never about having money. Your problem was about keeping and managing it. Again, back to the root cause. So it's super similar to the issue with the ants, because once you eliminate the root cause, once you eliminate your poor money management and move to effective money management, you'll be able to take proactive measures with your finances. You'll be able to handle doing financial regular checkups. You'll be able to handle working with a financial professional. You'll go to the person to get help. And so many people think, oh, I'm going to clean up my problems before I work with a financial professional. And what you need a financial professional for is to help you identify your root cause so that you can eliminate the problem for good, right? And you can work on the mindset, the behaviors, the practices, the things that got you to where you have financial issues. So instead of thinking that looking at financial problems as they arise and reacting to them, we want to take a proactive approach and say, hey, I got a financial problem. I wonder what really caused this, and dig a little bit deeper. And it might be hard because you might have to deal with some emotional issues, right? And that's something we don't often like to talk about with our money, but our money is tied to our energy and our emotions more than you know, and we use it that way. So remember, we got to shift our focus from temporary fixes to long-term solutions, because that's going to be crucial in your long-term success with money, for you, for your family, and for your life. And this helps you to reduce impulse spending, impulse behaviors, giving stuff out that you know you don't have a plan for, doing things that aren't there. And it'll help you to get a solid financial foundation that's going to allow you to build the emergency fund, have investing money, be able to do the real estate investing, be able to continuously educate yourself about personal finance, and make informed decisions. And so I just wanted to share that story with you, because I really want you to get in the mindset of thinking, maybe there's something else I need to do. And no one's asking you to go and solve all your money problems today. What I am saying is get in a community with people who can help you, get with a financial professional who can help you on that path, but take time to look at the things systematically so that you can move forward and get things done, right? So, because the reality is, true financial freedom isn't about quick fixes, but about identifying and addressing the root causes of your financial challenges, shifting your focus, changing your lens, and then watching your wealth grow. So that's my tip for today. But I'm super excited about bringing you I'm going to go ahead and put her on stage while I introduce her, about introducing you to an amazing woman. Now, I meet people all the time. Y'all know I'm a people person. People love me. I love people back, right? And I met Michelle, 6 months ago, right? It hasn't been that long in real life. And she is the dopest woman I probably have met in a long time. And I meet a lot of dope people, right? And I can use that because she's from New York, so she's with me. She's going to be with me. But I want to introduce you to her. I'm going to read her whole bio because her bio is fire, right? But Michelle Richburg of Richburg Enterprises. She's the CEO. Financial management means more than just statistical projections and facts for her. As the president, Michelle provides an opportunity to positively impact the lives and legacies of her clients long term. Her personal approach has established her as a leading figure in her industry. She's earned recognition as one of Billboard's top business managers for 4 years. She's been featured in R&B and hip hop as a power player for 4 years. She she's been a part of the Recording Academy. They recognized her contributions by inviting her to become a member. She's also been honored by Billboard's 2023 Women in Music and received various accolades. She is a trusted advisor and represents various multi-platinum superstars. We ain't name dropping in here today because that's unprofessional, but she's taking care of people. And she is the accounting firm of record for WMG BFF Social Justice Fund. Her work as a CFO to clients and personally and professionally holds deep significance. And this is a personal quote for her. To her, it's never about the numbers on the page. She's very intentional about educating clients and making sure they pay their taxes. That's important. We want to stay out of jail. And enabling them to build wealth. Building wealth, we talk about that all the time. And transparency is one of her keys. She's always open and honest. And of course, y'all know I'm a New Yorker. She's raised in New York. And she values financial independence. And she learned that from her grandmother, who was a domestic worker, alongside her chauffeur husband. And that is amazing. That's hard work. And it's amazing work in New York. They learned to astutely save enough to purchase 4 houses in cash in New York. And that's a big deal. This disciplined approach to savings and investment left a lasting impression on Michelle, providing a concrete example of financial prudence. Starting her career in banking as a check processor during high school, Michelle's ambition and diligence propelled her to academic and professional journey. And Michelle's clients say that she's changed their lives and she's worked with them. But at the end of the day, she is managing over a $100 million fund with WMGBFF Social Justice Fund. And she has done just so much to create wealth in the community. But I don't want to belabor it. I want to let her bring her voice into the room and say hello to everyone. Hi, Michelle.
Hi, Saran. Oh my God. So listening to you read that, I'm like, well, dang, I need to meet Michelle. Thank you.
Well, I'm glad you are, Michelle, because this interview wouldn't go right if you weren't right.
If I wasn't her, I know. Yes, those are the things. Thank you, God. Those are the things for sure.
Yeah. And well, I'm super excited to have you. I'm excited to have you because you bring such a wealth from the financial industry because you've been doing this, 30 years?
So my banking career was 30 years, but Richburg, actually, this is our 10th year anniversary. Well, so 40 years.
40 years of finance as an African-American woman in finance, which is amazing too. So, some of the things that, I want to talk to you about as a woman entrepreneur and someone who's been in finance, because when I talk to my rich aunties, I like them to know from other women in finance, because what I found is that we don't often see women who look like us on the other side of the table when we go to banking industries or we go to financial institutions to do our business. It's kind of like we're the secret sauce, but we don't always, we're not always offered to everyone. And so some of the things I like to ask, my guests is really, what do you feel like are some things that some of my women are in business, some are not, but really, what are like some money management tips that you give women either in business or personally that you feel like have passed the test of time with your amount of experience in the industry?
Well, I would say, finance is boring, right? I mean, it's the same thing. It's about building good financial habits and doing the same thing all the time, right? So I would say creating a budget, knowing what comes in, what's going out. I would say pay yourself first. That's a big one. And it's never too early to start saving for retirement, right? I was always inside of a financial firm in corporate until I started Richburg. And even though I was a single mother and I was struggling, I'm never afraid to say that, because actually, obviously, it's part of my story, but I keep it in the forefront of my mind because it helps to keep me grounded. So even though money was tight and I had to take money from A to B to C to do the thing, I always put money in my 401k. So paying yourself first, creating a budget, and I didn't have a budget back then. I knew how to manage money and I knew how to pay my bills on time. And so things were never late. But now that I'm here in this season and I've learned and I've been through some things, and I'm trying to tell the people, creating and living off a budget is crucial in order to build wealth.
Yeah. And so for those of us, I love that you started with finance is boring. We're trying to make it fun out here, people, but listen. You got to keep doing the same thing over and over and over again and making the tweaks along the way, right? And the budget is a bad word. It might as well be a four-letter word. B for budget. I mean, we can make it all kinds of, but the reality is, and I know you work with this because you work with people who you're trying to help them manage their finances, right? And you're like, here's the budget, and they're like, I'm not going to be on a budget,
right? We have a joke. We say we make budgets, or for artists like the tour manager, if there's performances, shows, they make a budget and the artist laughs. We have a joke.
They're like, we're gonna spend all of it, but it helps us to have an idea of where we want to go and what we want to do. It helps us to know, how we're managing things. So, in the budgeting process, do you recommend that people work with someone to do the budget, or do you feel like most people can kind of do it on their
own? I think it depends on where you are, right? But I do think that it's helpful that you work with someone. And I like to use an analogy of, we're women here, right? We all go to the gynecologist. We got to get our mammograms. We got to get, our paps. We got to do all the things, right? And you go to the doctor for that. You go to an expert for that. So if you are serious about your financial health, and you know that there are some areas that you need help in, my recommendation would be to get professional help, professional assistance. Yeah. Because you don't know what you don't know. And even if you think you know everything, you may know a lot, but I'm sure that there are ways that a financial professional would benefit you.
Yeah, I love that. And so, we like to get personal with our guests, our rich aunties. We like to know the person. We like to know, some amazing things about them. And here, because we go from chaos to calm, I typically like to ask my guests this question, and I know you have an amazing story around this, is, can you share something or share a personal, maybe financial challenge, a setback that you've had and faced and overcome and got to a place of calm, and some of the lessons you learned from it to overcome it?
Yes, absolutely. So yes, I have a story, and I should be able to tell it in 3 minutes, right? But we gonna start off by saying, have you ever had a bad day, like a crazy bad day, like get fired bad day? So in 2011, on a random Thursday, I went to work like I always go to work. I was actually meeting with a sports agent who was driving from Philly to come to New York so we could talk. I was in corporate at the time, right? So I had my dream job as a senior vice president at a private bank. I had all the names in my roster as clients. And so as Burna Boy would say, now thought I was sitting on top of the world, right? And so I had a lunch meeting at the Four Seasons with this sports agent. On my way to the city, I get a call from my boss's assistant asking me if I could come in and meet with him. So I told her that it wasn't a good day. I could come tomorrow because I had this meeting. So she was persistent. So at the end of the day, she was my boss. So I had to change my plan. So I called the gentleman. I asked him if we could meet for dinner instead for lunch. I proceeded to go into the office. Well, child, by 2:00 that afternoon, I was standing on Fifth Avenue, fired.
Oh my goodness.
Fired. No warning, no nothing. And the crux of it was, as I was going back and forth with the vice chairman and everything when I was in the conference room, because this came out of the clear blue sky, they simply said, you and your clients are no longer needed or wanted at the bank.
The clients too? I didn't know the clients too. I did not know the clients got
the clients too.
Oh my goodness.
So being fired from any job clearly is just what it sounds like. But being fired from the job that you worked for, 10, 15 years, I worked my way up the ranks, as you stated in my bio. I started when I was in high school. I went through the entire retail bank, made it to the C-suite, was in private banking, and was loving life. And then all of a sudden, I don't have a job. So with that being said, I immediately, it wasn't so much of, well, it definitely was the financial setback, right? Which is kind of what I know we want to talk about. But that crippled me, but it was also my mindset. It was also the fact that I wasn't getting up every day going to work. And this is what I did my entire life.
Right.
So to pair with the mortgage, the private school tuition, the car note, like all the things. What I will say is God is good. God is amazing. I needed to go through that, right? Because that led me to my purpose, to where I'm sitting right now. So what I would say, without prolonging the story, is, and I will tell you that it took me, so that was in February, that was 13 years ago, by the way. And it led me to start Richburg as a side hustle.
Okay.
Right? It also taught me that my identity is not associated with the person that I work for. My identity is who God made me to be. And that the clientele that I have built up at the bank was there because of Michelle Richburg and because of the service and the relationships that I have built over the years and that I provided for them and their families, right? So, but I had to go through the process to figure that out. Along with help, I had a great support system and mentors and everything. I will tell you that during that time, I did not miss one mortgage payment, one car note, one credit card bill, and paid my, I was going to say and paid my COBRA. But part of my negotiation with them, which was a lesson, just a business acumen, is that they had to keep me on payroll so they could pay my insurance for 15 months. Right? But coming out of that, I guess to answer the question of the lessons learned sitting here now, even though it's 13 years later, is that my identity is not associated to anything other than what you see right now.
I love that.
Right? And that I definitely am very disciplined about having 6 to 12 months of emergency savings. I had maybe 1 month, right? And I definitely had my 401k because I will always contribute to my 401k. But like I said, I was a single mother, so I would have to borrow from my 401k to pay tuition, then you pay yourself back. through payroll deduction, and then you pay that off, and then you take another loan. I was in that race.
Right. That's real, and that's real. That's a real conversation.
Exactly. So now when I was fired, I had an outstanding loan that went on my W-2 as taxable income, right?
Sure
the year, because that was the least of my worries during the time I wasn't working. So, and now being self-employed, like I said, for almost 10 years, along with being disciplined to pay your taxes and do all the things that we do for the clients, but first and foremost, I have to put money away for a rainy day.
Absolutely.
And I have said this before, in this world of Instagram and social media and all the things, people, I've heard, let me say, that they don't like the term emergency funds or this, and I just shoot straight from the hip, because things happen, life be life. And I mean, look, last Friday, people got up, they couldn't travel. I had clients calling me that they couldn't get money out of the ATM.
Right.
That's stuff happens. So you can,
and that's out of everybody's control, right? If the whole operating system goes down and you don't have cash, then what you gonna do?
Cash, and or in that same vein, if you just don't have a go-to for whatever, your car breakdown, whatever.
Right.
So it's a long answer of the two most important lessons that I learned from being fired.
Yeah, I love that. And I got the emergency fund, right? I like to call it a F you fund. I'm out of here. Oh, this is what we do? I got my money.
Right.
F this, I'm out.
Right.
Oh, the car don't work? Let me go. I'll be back. Let me go. And that's important. So I love that. And then what was the number 2? You said that, and you said that you are not, don't let the job define you.
Right. And just knowing your value, right? And knowing your worth, and knowing what it is, whatever your it is, or whatever God gave you, own that.
Absolutely.
Stand in that and lead with that.
Yeah.
And as long as you're doing it in integrity and, make, from the heart, like, it's going to be fine.
Yeah. I love that. And I think that is very relatable, because you said something that most people don't talk about, right? Most people don't talk about that. Yeah, they contribute to their retirement plan, but they're not telling nobody they're taking a loan out every year, right? Or depending on where you work, I know there was one company I worked for years ago. You could have up to 2 loans out at a time, right? As long as it wasn't over like 50% of the balance. You could have 2 simultaneous loans.
Right.
And that meant whatever it is, that became kind of the emergency fund, when really what we were doing was stealing from our future selves, because we're losing all the interest that money could have been earning in that account, but we needed to use it. And so it's important to have those two separate, because that emergency fund and that retirement fund, it really shouldn't be commingled, if you will, in that it allows you to not degrade your future assets, making sure we can take care of that.
That's 100%.
Yeah, I love that, because we've done it. And as women, if you're out here trying to make it happen, and you may or may not have additional financial support from your co-parent, then you have to figure it out, right? You do what you need to do. Or even, if you're just a single parent, we don't even have to say women, because there are a lot of single male parents that I'm seeing more of too. But making things work the best you can. But that's where it comes into getting with someone who can help you with the financial advice. And it kind of goes back to also my story earlier of, okay, you don't have the money, but let's look at what the root cause is. What are you able to change and control? What do you have control over that you can change to help not have this situation happen again? And I love that. And that I think I would add that to number 3, what you said, what you're talking about. Number 3, what is that you're in control of that you can change, because you talked about the mindset and being able to handle it. And
Yeah, I loved your story in your introduction. Good job. That was great, and it kind of brings it home, like what is the root cause, and what I know, like for me in my 20s, a separate story, when I was buying my first house, and I had an amass full of credit card debt.
mm-hmm.
That's just because, you went to college, you got credit cards. I love to shop. I've always loved to shop. That's never been a secret. I like, whatever. And this is a real story. I would just go use my credit cards, Bloomingdale's, Macy's. I had all the cards, 1920, and never ever open the mail. Like, it's funny. This is what I do for a living now. Never
right.
open the mail, never pay the bills.
Right. Oh, wow. Okay.
Yeah, 1920. And then when it came to bite me full circle, which I knew better, but I had to get to the root of the problem.
But what did you figure out the root of the problem was?
The root of the problem was you can't use your credit card and not pay the bill, because you will have doo-doo credit. Okay? And you will have a stack of bills that you'll never get out of with the interest rate. And this was, like I said, 30 years ago. I'm 57, almost 58. So this was a long time ago. The interest rate now are 32%, 31%.
They weren't that high back then. They were not
exactly. So, you got to get to the root of the problem, which you cannot shop and not pay the bill. You can't spend money, not pay the bills, right? And it goes back to the budget and kind of being disciplined. I'm not saying I don't treat myself now. Obviously, I treated myself then, but I know how to do it now, where I could afford it, where it's in my budget, where I have a plan.
Mm-hmm. No, I love that. And it's funny because I was laughing with some, I can't remember who I was talking to. I talked to so many people. So sometimes it's like, it's just a memory in my head that I was talking to somebody about something, right? And so I was talking to somebody, and I think I was sharing, I was like, I was able to, by the time I was 30, I was already making 6 figures, almost double 6 figures, just in the work that I was doing, right? But I never was one of those people who bought luxury things, because it wasn't my thing. It wasn't something I was into. Now, gizmos and gadgets, I had every computer, laptop, fancy phone, you name it, I had it. Anything technological, I had it. That was what I did. But one of the things I realized in doing that is, like, I look now and I still have not pushed myself to like go buy like a high-end bag. Because in my mind, I'm like, I'm just going to throw it in the closet when I'm done with it. I'm not going to use it again. But I went and bought some stock.
Okay. Right.
I bought some stock in the company, which was actually cheaper than the bag.
Right.
But it's like, I'm like, we're not the same, because you own the bag and I own the stock.
Right. Right.
I think about things differently. And that's not to say the person that owns the bag there's anything wrong with, because neither is wrong. It's who you are. And I always tell people, if you want to show me who you are, send me your bank statement. Let me see how you're spending your money, because that'll tell me where your priorities are. It'll show me what's important to you very quickly. With a sort of a spreadsheet, I'll be able to see what's important to you, because that's where you spend your money. Now, if we do a quick look, one of the things I did to myself, I do these things to myself all the time, and it sounds painful, but I do it because I sometimes ask my clients to do it, and I want to remember what it feels like to do it. Mm-hmm. So it's like, all right, let me pull the Excel sheet from all my bank accounts and see where I've been spending money the last 3 months. And I started sorting it. I was like, you was a very hungry girl for the last 3 months. What in the world? Why are you eating all this food, right? And then I started judging myself, like, this ain't even no good food. What is this? So we had a meeting. I had a meeting with me.
You had a meeting with yourself.
The meeting went like this. You're going to meal prep. And you're only going to eat out when you go nice places for a while, because that's not how I want to spend my money.
Right.
And there's nothing wrong if that's how someone wants to live is, but I know that's not how I want to live my life. And I got to the root cause. I said, well, why are you even in this cycle? And part of it was because, and I think you know this, I was in a car accident less than almost a year ago, and I was homebound for months. And so I had gotten the habit of ordering food, ordering the Uber Eats, ordering, having groceries delivered. Then when I was finally back driving, like January, February, it was like, all right, now I can drive places, and I didn't have nowhere to go, so I was just going to drive through. Just doing this stuff I wouldn't normally do. And then I went back to the gym. So I'm like, well, I got to order my meals, my good meals, so I can do that. And so now I'm ordering the meal prep. I'm ordering the fast food. I'm Uber Eating. I'm buying groceries. Well, how many sources of food does one person need? Right? Which is why I got judgmental with myself. You know what I'm saying? And I just said, that's it, just meal prep. And so I don't overcomplicate meal prep. I make breakfast and I make a dinner, and that's it for the week. Because usually you're going to eat BS most of the week anyway, because you're rushing from this to that. But I don't have to do any of that. But that was a mindset. That was a reminder for me. Oh, you can get caught up too. Right. And then I look at those things long term. I'm like, well, I'm going to be retiring soon, and I want to make sure I have 30 or 40 years worth of money. Do I want to eat it now? Or do I want to be able to eat off of it later when I can't work? You know what I'm saying?
Right. Right. That was a good accent. That was good. I mean, I look at my accounts every day too, but I am the person with the bag, right? Because
the bag too.
But it's so funny because how we evolve. So I have a primary summer bag and a primary winter bag. Mm-hmm. The summer bag, though, my soon-to-be husband bought me, so I don't want my money. So
let's go with that.
And my preferred winter bag, I did buy that, but I had my eye on it. And I'm not going to say I budgeted for the bag, but because I budget for discretionary spending, I chose to use the discretionary spending on the bag. Now, what I will do too is that was 2 years ago. So now I won't do anything like that in that category, if per se, until I ramp it up again, or, something like that. Like you said, you ordered it and went through your meals expense.
Yeah. I think it's a plan. I love you use the word discretionary income, right? I think sometimes we need to define that discretionary income, because I know that when I talk to some people, most people say they don't have money because maybe they don't have enough discretionary income. Because if you have paid your living expenses, you have a roof over your head, you have transportation, whatever that mode of transportation is for you in your life right now, you have food on the table, whatever that is for you and your family right now. If you have a family and, their needs are met, but you don't have money to go to Cabo, does that mean that you have a financial problem? Not necessarily. You just may have a planning issue. You may need to take a look at, well, how do I increase my discretionary income? What are the things how can I get that money that's not dedicated to something that has to happen in my life, right? And I found that for a lot of people, it's in reducing the amount of interest they're paying on credit cards.
That exactly.
And the way you reduce the amount of interest you pay on credit cards is to pay them off and then not use them.
And
not use them and pay that interest rate, right? And I think that's a deeper conversation. And I have these conversations a lot with my clients one-on-one, because I ask the question, do you want to pay 32% on your Chick-fil-A meal that you got from the drive-thru 3 months ago?
Right.
That you forgot on your card. Do you want to pay 32% interest on the dance classes that we pay for our kids? And I'm not saying don't use your card for those things, because if you're doing it right and you're using the card, getting the points, and using the points for something else, and you're paying the card off and not paying the interest, that's a win. That's a four-way play.
That's a win, because then you
gotta have the play, right? But you got to run the play the way the play was meant to be run, not use the card, get the points, use the points, don't pay the card, pay the interest. I'm just saying it happened, right? And so thinking about it that way, because one of the things, and this will lead to our next discussion point, what we talked about was that's going to take away from our ability to build generational wealth, right? And I always say this when people ask me, there's a million ways to build generational wealth. And so, you, Michelle, what are some of the ways that you feel like are strong tools that women can build generational wealth?
Okay, so I should say these in three ways. The first way is to pay yourself first, again, but in retirement, in your 401k, investing, Roth IRA, traditional IRA, non-retirement investment account, real estate, and being debt free. So when I think about building generational wealth too, I think about it's about, and the word, we use it a lot now, right? Everywhere.
Yeah, it's everywhere. It's like saying air.
Exactly. But the thing about it is, and before it was a fancy, or a term, not a fancy term, but before it was said like air, when I break down, you read my bio, what my grandparents did.
Yeah,
right?
absolutely.
So my grandparents were domestic workers. My grandmother, so everything's fancy now. So she was a cook and my grandfather was a chauffeur. Now they say chef and driver. Same job.
Right, same job.
And they worked for a wealthy family in Rye, New York. And my grandmother didn't believe in credit. Of course, people, have mortgages and stuff like that. This is, in the 70s. So, and she liked to shop and she liked nice things and all that, which is where I get that from, because my grandparents raised me, right? But she was ahead of her time. And so her buying real estate and the 4 homes with cash, the first 2 houses were so her family could live in, and they paid her rent. So they won, in New York, and where she was from in Arkansas, right? And then I can remember, I don't know, 5, 6, whatever it was. All I know is my grandmother had been talking to me about money since I could remember, right? And I say that to bring that story in to say, so me sitting here at my age now and going through all the problems, and thank God have come out on the other side and know not only the value of money, but the options that money provides to you. And if you teach your kids and make good decisions and learn from the mistakes that you are going to make, you can position yourself to build generational wealth for your children and your children's children, right? So the key is, my grandmother instilled in me and taught in me the value of money, the value of real estate, all of the things that I learned as a financial professional, but I learned it at home, right? And so that, to me, is generational wealth. Having money for retirement, not having credit card debt, and having the mindset to teach your children or teach those that are close to you the importance of it, and think about all the folks that we know and how, household names, whether it's Chase, whether it's Rockefeller, and the money just kind of goes on and on and on. I will say that the wealthy have options that other folks don't.
Correct.
But you have to have the mindset, surround yourself with a professional do the right things to be able to get in the room.
I like that. Because sometimes, I heard a quote today that says hard work can get you to the door, but it won't get you through the door.
Correct.
And so getting through the door is essentially getting in the room. You can get to the door, but how do you get in the room? Right. And so getting in the room is the key to that generational wealth. Because when you're in the room, the conversation is different.
Correct.
Right. And we start to notice that as you grow in your career, and as someone who climbed the corporate ladder, and I climbed the corporate ladder too, and I knew that the conversation became very, very different when you started hanging with the people who were going up the ladder with you than with the people who kind of stayed at home and they weren't in the same vein as what you were doing. And not right or wrong, it's just the conversation changes. And when the conversation shifts, you get to learn something you didn't know, things you hadn't heard. And even with learning from your grandmother, she learned what she learned probably from overhearing what she heard in the house that she was working in, right? And then she's like, well, I'm going to take this information. I'm going to use it for myself. And I'm going to tell my granddaughter.
Yes.
And I'm going to tell, and then she's going to tell her grandkids and her kids. And that starts the cycle to build it up, because we've been, as a community, at the door for so long and not inside the door with the real conversations to get the information. And that's one of the reasons that we have, conversations like this, podcasts like this, where we can have open door conversations to have different language. Because and most people are telling you about different things. Oh, figure out how you can pay your bills and how you can do this. No, let's figure out how we can increase your discretionary income so you can have a better life. Right. Let's figure out how you can get rid of some of those things so that you can enjoy more of what you came here to do and get to your dreams faster so you can live in that dream longer.
Correct.
Right. So I love that.
We speak the same language. And I would just add one comment, if I can, to what you said, to piggyback off of that. So when I went to private banking, right, and I had a clientele that was in the entertainment industry. And so obviously I had built up this clientele over the years, and I was providing, your normal financial services. But what became a very quick reality is this was new. It wasn't new necessarily to me because I had been in finance. So meetings, how you move around and you meet people. But it was new to my clients, some of them, not all of them, but because they didn't even know what private banking was.
Mm-hmm.
And also the services that are offered in private banking are not the same services that are offered in retail banking.
Absolutely not.
And then when I would be at the group director meetings and we would all, the meetings, so you got to talk about what you got to talk about. And I very quickly realized that my counterparts' clients were not getting the same opportunities as my clients. So then I became a loudmouth. Which is probably fired 5 years later or whatever.
Because you were educating your clients so they could learn the game.
And I was there to facilitate and get them the game so they could be in the game, I should say.
Right. Because it's a different story. Because when you get to private banking, they're like, all right, well, if you're going to hold $500,000 in this account, this is what we're going to give you, this is what we're going to do. And then you have that conversation and they're like, and you're like, oh, y'all going to give me money to hold my money here?
Right.
That's different than somebody with the free checking. Oh, wait, you going to hold my money and I get a private line, I get to call somebody, and then when you get to more than, 6 figures, or you get to millions, it's like, just call Michelle directly on her cell phone for what you want. That's a different conversation where most people don't experience that level of banking. Where you can, I just saw someone on my timeline, she's like, which high yield savings account I should get? And I was like, you can go to this bank, but really you should be talking about something else. Why don't you call me? Let's see what kind of money you're talking about, because getting 5% on $100, what's it really going to do for you?
Right. Right.
And I'm not saying that in a derogatory way, but the thing is just let's think about it a little bit more strategically, because there's ways to leverage even $100 a month or $1,000 a month so that it can get to the 500 or $1,000,000, so you can get to the different levels of banking.
Right. Correct.
So I love that. So listen, we're gonna wrap up here, but tell me this. My audience likes to connect. I like to connect. Tell us how we can get connected to you. Where do you hang out in the social media world? You know, we all have a favorite place that we are. I'm a Facebook girl. I'm learning to be an Instagram girl, but I'm a Facebook girl just because sometimes on Instagram I feel like, is this real? Like, is that real? Because I'm a real girl. I'm a real woman. I do real stuff. Is that your car for real? I mean, I'm not being judgmental, but like in my mind, I'm like,
You're funny.
I just wonder stuff.
But I get it. I get it. I get it. Well, I'm real. The Michelle Richburg. I'm real. So I'm on Instagram and I'm on all socials, but my financial content and my tips are on Instagram at the Michelle Richburg. I am on TikTok also, same, my name. I'm on LinkedIn, which is Michelle Amos Richburg, my full name. It has all my professional stuff up there. And I'm on Facebook too. But so they kind of overlap. But I would say, if your go-to is Facebook, I would say my go-to is Instagram probably. And I am almost done with my course. We speak the same language, so I've been working on a course. I'm pretty excited, and I am going to put out the first module probably in September. But I have and my website, I should have said that first and foremost, which is RichburgEnterprisesLLC.com, because when you go on my website, there's a lot of tools there and information, and then you can also join the waiting list for the course.
I love it. I put all that in the chat for everyone who is watching, and we will transcribe this to Instagram. This is on YouTube, right?
This is all on YouTube.
I do like to hang out on YouTube. I do love to hang out on YouTube because I like to share the information. I like to absorb the information. And but I did put that in the chat, so I love that. I'm excited about your course coming out in September. I know we're all working on different things, but I love it because we cannot get enough information out here. And one of the things I often say, and I'm going to bring this back to you all in the audience, Rich Aunties, make sure you're watching the replay, put hashtag replay, leave your comments. I'll respond to your comments. But you want to make sure that you're not just consuming information, but you're taking action, right? And I often tell people, you don't always want to take advice from what you hear and see online. Book an appointment with the person who said it and ask questions and get more information. Because sometimes, and we're all content creators, you're getting a snippet, so you're getting a piece of the story in this video or that video, but you really need the whole pie. What we all need is a comprehensive plan for where we're going, what we're doing. Because if I drop a tip for you right now on how to get out of debt, I may not have given you the whole pie in this conversation, but you might get one slice of it, but you need the other 8 slices of the pie to really get to the plan. So don't take for granted the opportunity you have in the world that we live in, that you can literally get in touch with the people who you are connecting with online and book appointments with either them or their team, the people that work with them, and potentially get their services for reasonable investment to help you. Because a lot of times I think we talk ourselves out of doing things because we think that's just so expensive, but you just don't know, because we're here to help and serve first and to bring our people forward. And that's what we love to do. So I'm looking forward to that. But listen, it was great having you.
Invested in myself. I've always invested in myself, right? But how we met was a different investment in myself. That's how we met. And you don't, I posted something on my story today, another hot investment, which is a mentor of mine. I'm being coached. And the key to your next level is in your mentors and your coaches.
Yeah. Not just the workbook.
Not just the workbook. You got to take action. And you need, so I just, yeah. Everything you said.
Yeah, well, look, I love it because I invest time and money in myself all the time. I don't by any means feel like I know everything, and I always know that there's something else that I can learn. So that's what we do. But listen, it has been another episode of going from chaos to calm. Again, I'm your girl Saran. I'm your guide on this incredible journey. Thank you for joining us today for an amazing and engaging conversation with the Michelle Richburg of Richburg Enterprises LLC. Be sure to connect with her on Instagram, LinkedIn, TikTok, Facebook, and on her website so you can be the first to be on the waiting list for the course that's coming in September. Again, I'm excited to have you here. I would love for you to stay connected with me. I'm on Instagram and Facebook at coveredbySaran and other places, but you can always find me hanging out in my social media community, Sister Sense, and I'll put that in the chat. But join us when we have these conversations. Just in case you don't know, I'm here every Monday at 8:30 p.m., inspiring and educating on financial journeys. If you want to meet with me, you can also go to joinsaran.com, fill out the information form, and I'll reach out to you, or just shoot me a DM. I'm here to help. Join this amazing community. In the coming months, you're going to see more from me. I have exciting things coming out in September. There will be a book dropping on September 21st, an anthology that I'm a part of where we are talking about becoming leaders in our respective areas and about finance. So I look forward to you joining me on that journey. But again, remember this week's affirmation: every way and every way I prosper. So it's your girl Saran. Peace, love, and light. Let's get your money right. Bye.